Do you ever ask for feedback from patients? Well, today I'm going to go over how to actually get feedback from patients because I do believe it is the number one thing that you can do if you are stuck, feeling like I don't know which way to turn, and you're like, how do I, what's my next move? Ask. Ask your patients. Ask your clients. What do you guys really want? What are you guys loving about this? What's something that we can change that's different? Like, ask. And it sounds so simple, but we forget to ask because we're too busy trying to do either fulfillment or we're too busy like just trying to run a business. Um, and we forget to ask for feedback. When I first started my online business, I asked for so much feedback. Like every single second of the day, I asked for feedback. And when I started that business, I did over 200 Zoom calls. And on those calls, I wrote down exactly like what their problems were. And then I started creating products off of their problems. Well, when I started creating products, then I would give them the products and I'd be like, okay, like, what do you think? Give me feedback. Like, what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. Like, how do you feel about it? Did it make sense? Like, all that stuff. And I kept asking, and like, at first it was really good because I could tweak my products. But after like a year of that, my clients were like, okay, like, stop asking for feedback. Because eventually it gets to a point where it's like, you're asking for feedback because you don't know what you're doing. So there is a balance and a finesse to this. Because if you keep asking for, it's like the waiter when he keeps coming to your table and he's like, would you like something more to drink? And then he goes, wait, would you like something more to drink? Would you like something more to drink? And you're like, oh my God, can this guy just leave me alone? It's like that. If you constantly are asking your clients for feedback. So there is a finesse to this where, every 3 to 6 months, is good to ask clients for feedback. Every 3 to 6 months is good to ask your clinicians for feedback if you have, people on staff. Um, and what I have gained from feedback is like you don't just ask like, what do you want to see more of? Because it really doesn't, it's very broad. So one way we have done this is we have gone old school and done a drop your suggestions in the box when they walk into the clinic. And it's anonymous. We have done that. We had only people put positive things in that box. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but we only had like little love notes left for the providers in that box. So that was really, nice. However, we didn't get any feedback from clients that way. Okay. Um, the other thing the most valuable that I have found is just straight up asking clients to their face or over a Zoom call. Hey, what have you really liked about, your visits here? What have you really liked about coming into blank, clinic? And they'll be like, well, I really liked that I've been able to solve my problem, but you know what? I didn't really like the cancellation policy when my kid really was sick and like I had to do teletherapy. I'm like, okay, thanks for the feedback. Like, I really do appreciate that. And so some patients will be very direct and honest. Some others will be like, it's all good. And then like call your admin behind your back and be like, I don't ever want to be with that therapist again. And you're like, okay, great. Um, and they'll tell the admin they don't want to tell you to your face. Um, so I would say the best way is like ask for feedback, like literally ask for feedback. And be like, hey, like, you know, what can we do better? Or don't do blank statement. Like, what have you really enjoyed about coming here? What have you really loved? Is there anything that we can improve upon that would be better for you? Again, it's making it about them, not just like, hey, I'm just trying to get general feedback. What else? Uh, Feedback is the thing that maybe you haven't seen, like, because you're so in it, you haven't removed yourself. And so the clients have a different perspective. Remember, you always want a different perspective, whether or not that's coming from a coach, a client, your mother, okay? A different perspective, your spouse is always good It's always welcomed. You may not go with that perspective, but at least it's from a different lens of maybe a way that you have not thought about it. And I think when people do that, it shows maturity. Comparatively, if someone's like, nope, it's only this way, I'm only going to do it this way, like, I just don't believe that it's always just one way. And so being able to listen for feedback without getting defensive is very important. Most people, and I've done this so many times, and someone's like, well, I didn't like that. I didn't see this provider. And I want to immediately be like, go right at them and be like, it's okay because it's all part of our method and you're going to get the freaking result. But instead, I should sit back and listen and be like, okay, so tell me what upset you about not seeing this provider that you were looking forward to seeing. Well, Kelly, I was really upset because I really connected with her and she really gets me and understands me. And I feel like I'm going to have to explain myself to another provider if I go to see someone else. Okay, Sally, I get that. I get that. But here at Blank Clinic, okay, we're different because we actually already know your case, because at every single meeting we put our heads together to be able to deliver the best care. And so we go over case by case on what we need to do to move you all forward. So we're all actually in the same realm when it comes to the patients. And it's not like you have to tell your story over again because we already understand it. Oh, okay. And that might settle her down. I actually like that because I like more heads on my case than just one. Yeah, isn't that cool? Yeah, it really is. Great. Different perspective. Okay. So, I mean, that's also how to handle conflict and feedback, but you just got to make sure that you're able to take the feedback. Because I can tell you a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I want feedback. And then I give it to them and then they start crying. Or I give it to them and they're like, I can't handle it. And then they think they're a horrible person and that's not it. So make sure that you're willing to accept feedback as well if you're going to ask for it. And then I do it in another way. I do an email form. Hey guys, and I just do a quick survey. So I don't know if you guys have ever sent out surveys, but like every about 6 months, you should be sending out a survey. And I ask just 2 questions because if you put too many, no one will do it. So again, this is a balance. You got to figure this out. But I put, what are we doing well and what can we improve upon? Basically something like that. And I put excluding taking insurance. I do put that on there because most people will say that. And like when we did a survey, it was all about improving our HEP. That's really what it was about. And so that was really good feedback for me to know, okay, we need a stronger HEP system because like therapists were forgetting to send clients, HEPs, and the client was upset because they couldn't do their exercises and they're paying to make sure they can get the outcome, but they can't get it because they didn't record the exercises. And it was just like a hot mess. And so it just frustrated the patient. And so to take down that frustration, then it was like, okay, let me figure this out. And that's how I knew when to actually like implement surveys. So I would just make it a goal that every 6 months a survey is going out. And it will also, as the owner, give you a pulse on what's happening with your employees, what's happening with your staff. Like maybe they're going to leave a comment that the front desk staff was amazing and connected with them. Maybe they're also going to say, you know what, they just blew me off and they were rude over the phone. Great to know. Maybe they called me too much. Like these are all things and scenarios that have happened. And then that way you can adjust how you're teaching your staff and how you guys are showing up so that patients feel welcomed, cared for, and making sure that they're getting the results right off the bat. So if you guys need help with creating those surveys or, how to actually handle the feedback, let me know. Talk soon.